All right, number 4, we want to describe how the graph of the cube root of x plus 2 can be attained from the cube root of x. So the plus 2, notice it's not underneath the radical. That will be the grouping symbol. So that plus 2 is just going to shift up or down. That plus 2 corresponds to this, just the plus or minus b. So being able to identify and correlate which numbers or which letters, that will help us to determine what's going on. So we're just going to go up 2 units. And then the graph, let me see if the cube root, I don't know if the cube root is one that is given. Yes, it is. Here it is. So here's a cube root. We're going to just shift it up 2 units based on the function. So cube root goes up 2 units. Is there only an A, B, C choice? I didn't want to skip if there was a D. Looks like just A, B, and C. Okay, so of those, looks like A would be the only one that got shifted up. So we're going to go with A. That one went down. That one's still at the center. Number 5, we want to describe how the following function can be obtained. Okay, so this one I can do a little explanation. So, y is equal to f of x. Okay, that's just a different notation. So, whenever we talk about transformations, and if we see, for example, 2 f of x, this means I'm multiplying the y value by 2. Okay, and the same thing would be if I had a function. Let's say I had f of x equals x plus 4 squared, and then I just attach that 2 out there. I'm multiplying 2 times the y coordinate. Okay, so let's talk about what happens to x. So when we're talking about the transformation to x, here is why things are opposite. So let's say that I just have a y equals equation. Let's just say y equals, and the same thing as f of x. Let's just say 2x minus 4 squared. All right, we're going to solve for x, and I'm going to use this to explain why the answer inputs for this problem seem to be opposite. So it looks like we're doing 2 times the x value, okay, but this is in y equals format, so you need to look at it as far as x equals. It also looks like we're subtracting 4 from the x, okay, but we always say this moves it to the right, the opposite. So if you solve for x, what you would do is you would take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to go through the solving process. Square root, and so I would have the square root of y equals 2x minus 4. So when I solve for x, this minus 4, to get rid of it, I have to actually add 4. So I have the square root of y plus 4. So in actuality, that minus 4 was a plus 4. That's why we go right 4 when we see the negative. Equals 2x. And then to get rid of this 2, to get x by itself, what we're actually doing is divide by 2. So final, what happened is I have the square root of y, and then I have my plus 4, all divided by 2 equals x. So when I'm describing what is happening to the x coordinates are getting divided by 2. If I had something like that with the 2 being multiplied by x, and instead of going to the left 4 because I see the minus, we actually go right 4. It's a positive. So if you think about it as solving for x, that will help you identify what's happening to the x coordinate. So here we have absolute value of 2x. That 2 is in the grouping symbol with x. So we're going to start with the graph, absolute value of x. That's what we see, basic function. We're going to stretch or shrink it. So let's talk about that. It actually does the opposite. So the bigger the number is going to shrink it. Okay, but let me show you that again in the definition. So when we have in grouping symbols with x, that's this one, horizontal stretching or shrinking. It says shrinking for the absolute value of c being greater than 1. So if that number is bigger than 1, it's going to shrink it. And if that number is between 0 and 1, like a half or fourth, it's going to stretch it. Again, that can be identified by the dividing by 2. It's kind of like halving whatever we did. So we're going to shrink it, okay, by dividing, shrink it horizontally, because that's in the horizontal direction. And it says by dividing each x coordinate by 2, okay, because this one is affecting the x. And so dividing by 2. So this is how you get a better understanding of that.